with our handle, what we're going to do from here is we are going to bore a hole in the top of our handle, and that's going to fit our internal ferrule. So we've drilled a hole into our internal ferrule and we've just tapped a thread there. So we'll drill this hole out and then we'll insert our internal ferrule. We'll epoxy glue that in place and we'll hold it with a lock pin as well. Okay, so before we put this in the lathe, what we're going to do is just get some masking tape. I'm going to tape up around the timber, okay, of my handle. I can place that in the chuck and that it doesn't, the jaws of the chuck don't damage my timber there. Okay, so we'll do that now. Just get that. Okay, try and keep it nice and even. Okay, so we've just put some masking tape on there. That's going to protect our timber handle from the jaws of the chuck when it goes in. Place our 16mm drill bit in the tailstock. Okay, we'll slide that up along the bed till we're just off the stock that we want to drill. Okay, lock our tailstock to the bed. Okay, so when setting the speed for this lathe, okay, you can have a look down the table on the left hand side here. That shows you all of the speeds that we have available and then the levers and the combinations that we need to get to that speed. So for boring our hole here, we're going to slow it down a little bit. We want about 160 or 230 RPM, so we'll go JKP. So if we just point those red arrows to those letters, JKP. If it doesn't go in, just spin that chuck till the letter goes in. Okay, and that's how you set the speed. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I've just put a mark on my drill bit. That's going to tell me when I need to stop. I don't need to bore any further into this hole. Okay, so just bore nice and consistently, drilling into that, releasing the drill bit so that the swarf can release out of that hole. Okay, every so often. And that's the depth we want. Okay, now that we've drilled our hole in the top of our handle, okay, that should be the depth, the same depth as your internal ferrule. Okay, so what we're going to do is mix up some epoxy. It'll be araldite, so we'll mix some of that. It's a part A, part B. We'll insert the epoxy into the hole and then we'll tap that nut into that hole as well. That should give it a really nice tight fit. Okay, you'll notice I've still got my masking tape on there. Okay, that's just to protect if any of our epoxy spills out and it drips down the handle, okay, to stop it from going on our nice timber handle that we've got there. Okay, so we're going to place that in the vise just like so. Okay, what we've got here for our epoxy is just an araldite. It's a part A and a part B. Okay, so we're going to 50-50 mix that. I have just some old sandpaper that I'm going to pour that onto, and I'm just using a paddle pop stick to mix it. Okay, so once again, this is a 50-50 mix. We don't have a lot of time, so we do have to be pretty quick when we're working with this epoxy. And so let's get it on. So I'll just squeeze enough. There's probably about the size of a 20-cent piece there, and I'll squeeze the exact same amount of the part B onto that, because it is a 50-50. If you don't have an even mix, okay, it may take a little bit longer for your araldite to go hard. It may not, if you don't have enough, it may not go hard at all. So what we're going to do is just mix that up nice and thoroughly. Okay. Make sure it's all nice and consistent. It's all mixed in really, really well. Okay. Don't walk away and come back to this. This has to be done in one go. Okay. So if we move over now to our handle, okay. So get some of that araldite and let's just feed that into our hole. Okay. Now when you place your internal ferrule into this hole, make sure, okay, that you have the thread at the top, okay, because the bottom, you may not have been able to thread all the way to the bottom of that internal ferrule. Okay, so make sure you have that thread at the top. Okay, we may have to now tap that in gently. So just gently tap that in until that's nice and flush there. Okay, now from here, basically, we just play the waiting game. Don't touch this. It will take a good 24 hours to properly cure, okay, before that araldite sets, and it should be really... So we have our internal ferrule that has been epoxy glued into the handle. What we're going to do now, we're going to add extra strength. We're going to be drilling a hole through our external ferrule, through the timber handle, through the internal ferrule, and right out the other side. We will drive a pin through that, and that will lock all of these surfaces together. So the external ferrule, the timber, and the internal ferrule. So that will prevent any slippage, anything slipping and spinning when we try to tighten our head bolt up. Okay, so what we're going to do, pop that in the vise, get yourself a steel rule, okay, and a scriber, and we're going to measure just 15 mil from the bottom up of our external ferrule. Just put a mark like so. Okay, get your center punch. Okay, and what we're going to do is just center punch that there. So the next step from here, we're going to set this up into the drill press, and we're going to drill a 3.2 mil hole all the way through the external ferrule. So what we're going to do first is load our drill bit into the chuck, okay, of the drill bit, and then we're going to clamp up our handle. Okay, so just clamping onto the shank. Okay, we need to get the key for our chuck. Okay, and then just firmly clamp that up. Okay. Now, what we need to do is, with that center punched mark on the handle, okay, make sure that is hanging over the edge of our vise, okay, and it is perfectly at the top, okay, and we'll gently or firmly actually clamp that in, okay, and now it's just about lining this up. So we have a couple of axes here to be able to line up. So this wheel here will spin the table to the right or to the left, okay? This wheel here moves the table forwards and backwards, okay? To be able to line our drill bit up a lot easier, just wind the spindle down till we're just hovering a couple of mil over where we want to drill, and just clamp that down, okay? So now we can get a little bit closer, get eye level. Okay, line it up. I'm nearly there. Just reach around, have a look to see if you've got that running through the center. It really needs to run through the centre. Okay, I am happy with that. Okay, so from here, close the guard, turn this machine on. Okay, what we need to do is make sure that the emergency stop buttons have been disengaged. Okay, turn the on button, okay, and then push forward. And that will turn the spindle on. If for some reason it's not turning on, okay, and that's to turn it off. For some reason it's not turning on, just check the stop buttons, check the power at the wall, or check the power in the workshop. It may be that that's stopping, the power is stopping this thing from working.
Mr. Adam borrowed it, did he?
Yeah.
The 2Z pod.